Hello, I don't have much time. I'm in an interrogation room in my local police precinct because I didn't get location releases for my video. This week, you guessed it, we're talking about legal stuff. Now, quick disclaimer, I am not an attorney, I do not practice law. None of this video constitutes legal advice for your situation. This is just generally available legal knowledge that we are trying to disseminate to help everybody make better decisions. So, for actual legal advice, you do best to consult with an attorney. Now, that being said, all videos that you create have some sort of asset in them. And usually those assets require some kind of release form. So, for example, if you have customers coming to do testimonials for your company, you should have what's called a talent release for that customer. It's a document that they sign that gives you permission to use their likeness in a video that's promoting your business. It's a simple step. It's very important. If they're willing to give a testimonial on camera, I'm sure they're willing to sign this form as well. This goes for every person who is recognizable on your video. Anybody that agrees to be on camera for you, you need to get a talent release from them. If they are a minor, you need to get a talent release from their parents or legal guardians. Okay? Now, in the case of stock footage, you'll have what's called, if there are individuals that appear in the stock footage that are recognizable in the stock footage, that should have been already taken care of. If you want to double check, you can make sure that it is model released. That is the keywords that you need to look for. Model released stock footage. If it doesn't say that it's model released, I wouldn't use it because you never know. Stuff like that can bounce back. But guess what? Not just talent, but there are other things you need to get releases for as well. Locations. Okay, if you are filming at a location that you do not personally own or control in some way, then you need to get a location release from the owner if it's private property. Now, most public property you can film out without a location release because it is private or public property. However, in the case of public property, you probably need to get a permit, a filming permit of some kind. So just call, if it's city property, call the city. If it's county property, call the county. If it's state land, call the state. And if you're not sure, just call one of them and they can tell you if the land is their property or if it's somebody else's. So make sure to get permission from the local government who controls that public land before you film there, because they may require you to have a permit, they may not. Some places, especially in the suburbs, they're not too concerned about that, but they may require you to have a permit, and even if they don't require you to have a permit, they definitely want to know what you're doing and where, because they might get calls and they want to know how to address them, they want to be prepared, and if something happens, it's better if they know before some kind of accident or something like that happens. If they know you're already filming, you'll be much better off, trust me, okay? So, that's for locations. If it's private property, make sure you get a location release. It's very similar to a talent release. It just allows you to use the footage of that location in a commercial project. Now, next, other assets like music releases or stock footage releases. A lot of times, stock footage websites and owners do not require you to give credit or attribute those assets to them in your final project. It is considered courtesy. It is considered a professional courtesy to do so. So I would encourage you to give credit where credit is due. But you should also check, because some of them do actually require you to give credit, especially if you got it for free. If you got the asset, if it's music or footage for free, that could be in the agreement. That could be in the license agreement that allows you to use it for free, requires you to give credit. So be careful with that. Make sure you check that if you're trying to save some money and use free assets. Okay? So you need to get talent releases for anybody who appears in your footage, in your video. You need to get location releases for any locations that you shoot at that you do not control, unless it's public property. If it is public property, you need to get a permit or contact the government entity that controls that land to make sure that you have permission to film there in the first place. Once that permission is acquired, you shouldn't need a location release, again, because it's public land. Then you also need to double check with any music that you acquire and any stock footage that you acquire that whether you're required to give credit to those artists who created it. Now, if you have something commissioned, like if you have a custom soundtrack written by an actual composer, then you'll need music releases. That is kind of the same thing as an actor. In order to have permission to use the music that they have written, you need to have a written agreement. You need to have a contract that gives you the rights to do so. Okay? All right. Now, that's all we've got for you today. Hopefully that was helpful for you. If you're wondering what to do about these releases, whether you type them up yourself or you can get them, you can actually get those online. There are some fantastic templates available for free online. You don't have to get a release for these ones. So you don't have to get a release for your releases. You can get those for free online. Just Google talent release template or film location release template. You'll come up with a bunch of stuff, and you can find one that fits, that you don't have to modify very much. And then you need to read through it yourself, read through it so you understand it, and then make any changes you need to make in order to conform it to your project. Okay? So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions on that, definitely feel free to ask them at the bottom, and we'll get to you. Thanks. This is Cameron Porter with Robin Hood Studios.